This subsection of shoulders is having a look at using or driving along the shoulder section of a roadway, as well as its associated hazards. Before doing so, however, I'd like to take a brief moment just to request your help in promoting the website and this YouTube channel. The objective of this course is really to help to save lives on the streets. And so any assistance I can get in that regard will be greatly appreciated. I'll put a link in the description section of this video to take you to a web page on the site that will show the different avenues by which the videos can be promoted. Each one of them is free and very easy to carry out. For example, subscribing doesn't cost you anything and is simply the click of a button. Back to the animation. One of the dangers in driving down the shoulder section of a roadway is that other motorists won't be expecting any vehicles to be traversing along this path. As a result of that, they're less likely to check their rear view mirrors or have a look out for any vehicles because there won't be an expectation of that. And so there's a great chance that any vehicles then will simply, without any indication, pull out into the shoulder section of the roadway, increasing the risk of a collision. That's what's demonstrated in this animation. There, the driver of the red vehicle, not expecting any other vehicles to be traveling down this path, simply pulls out and we have the collision. This real life clip is demonstrating what we've just seen in the animation. You'll see that there's a black vehicle traveling down the section of the roadway. The driver of the silver vehicle, not expecting any vehicles to be along that path, simply pulls out and we have that collision. The next clip is demonstrating something that was mentioned in a previous video dealing with shoulders, and that is that the shoulder section of a roadway, one of its purposes is really to drain away any water that would otherwise accumulate on the roadway. So it's providing a drainage area. In order to be a drainage area, the roadway needs to be inclined, so obviously the water can drain off. Now the problem is that when you've got any growth, be it grass or reeds or whatever, growing on the side of the shoulder, one cannot see at what angle the shoulder section is. And so one can come along assuming that it's fairly level, only to find to your surprise that that's not the case. And so we see that in this clip as the driver progresses along the shoulder section, it's too inclined for the vehicle and it topples over. This clip is highlighting the dangers once again of any vehicles traveling down the shoulder section. In this particular clip, the two vehicles coming down at speed, which is not that common. You're not going to find two vehicles side by side coming down the shoulder section. But what I do want to demonstrate in this video is just the speed differential. So these vehicles are traveling at speed, and that's another danger, is that a vehicle could be traveling at fairly high speed, and so any motorist just pulling out is going to be at a greater risk due to that speed differential. Here again, we see this vehicle on the right side of the road traveling down the shoulder section. You can see it's not in the lane here. And so any vehicles ahead, not expecting other vehicles to be in this section of the roadway, simply turns off. And that's what happens. The driver ahead turns off to the right and there's a collision. Similar to the previous clip, driver along the shoulder section. Here we see a vehicle cutting through the line of vehicles, not expecting anything down here, and once again, a collision. This is a little bit of a variation. We do have a vehicle traveling in the shoulder section, but what happens is that the lanes now merge and it tapers off here. So this lane now actually merges into the main lane, so the vehicle traveling along the shoulder section doesn't have the space to squeeze between the truck and the railing. And we see what this results in. I'll just progress the video. So caught between the truck and the railing, forces the truck now out of its lane. There goes the culprit in the distance. But look at the swath of destruction that this driver's left in its way. 2 vehicles that have overturned, aside from the damage to the truck. And this could easily be the consequences of bad decisions or bad driving or inconsiderate motoring. This particular clip, we have a vehicle coming at speed, finds itself then on the shoulder section. But what I want to highlight in this clip is just that when there's an uneven shoulder section to the road, that it can be very damaging to the vehicle itself. No doubt the undercarriage of this vehicle was damaged to an extent, and if he came away safely, the least or the best case scenario is that he'd have to reset his wheel alignment, but I'm sure there's probably sump or other damage to the vehicle. So we've got to be very careful if it's not a smooth, tarred or paved a section of the road, that it could result in significant damages to our vehicle. Please like, subscribe, and get notified.